So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's session. And I'm very glad that all of you came. And I think the reason why you came to these presentations is because you may be interested in doing research with us in the future. So hopefully we can interest you with some of our presentations, and hope that you will find it interesting, and then you can maybe come and find us and we can have a chat together. So let me tell you about our research. So I'm Dr. Genevieve Fung, or Jenny, and I'm an assistant professor in the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and my specialty is neonatology. So let me tell you a bit about what we do, and then also about some of the research that we're doing in our department. So this is the neonatal department. And this picture doesn't cover all of us, but it covers some of the most important people. First of all, is Professor Simon Lam, who is head of our department, and also he'll be supervising most of our research. And then I'm also one of the academic staff. And then we have a neonatal research team, Kathy, Raymond, Patty, and also Kathy Lowe. And also we have some postgraduate students. And we just had one new postgraduate student coming joining us just a few days ago. So what do we do? Just a bit of information about our department. These are some photos of our department. As you can see, it looks very busy, and it is actually one of the biggest departments of neonatology in Hong Kong. And for neonatology, the definition is that we take care of babies, or babies from birth until they are about 1 month old. And so you may think that, oh, that's not a very long time. However, the babies that come to our ward are actually they're actually one of the very sickest babies that in the hospital, and they need a lot of care, especially in the neonatal intensive care. So we take care of all the preterm babies and all the babies who need intensive care. And some of these babies, they will stay with us for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months until they're ready for discharge. And we continue following them up until they're older, or until we find that they are well and doesn't need our intervention again. So, our neonatal unit, we cover the New Territories East region. So we cover a population of 1 million people. And annually, we have about 6,000 babies being delivered. And but Professor Lam is our team head. And in our NICU, we have 22 beds. And they're all intensive care beds. And we also have a large number of special care baby beds as well. And we take care of those babies who are delivered from high-risk pregnancies, and also babies who need intensive care from us. And let me show you some of the pictures. This is the neonatal ward taken in the morning, and each of our baby will be in one of the incubators here. And these are the ventilators which help the babies to breathe, and also some monitors which indicate the heart rate, the saturation, the blood pressure, etc. And all our work is most of the neonatal work is carried out in the NICU. And this is one of the transport incubators that we put the baby in here, and then with all the equipment. This is for transferring babies and maybe to other parts of the hospital, or when we want to transfer baby to other hospitals for special care, which we'll go into in a minute. Okay, so our work is very interesting since it involves a lot of small babies. And because the small babies, the physiology, the pathophysiology, everything else is very different from other children or adults. So that's why our research is very interesting as well. And so our research areas, so what are we interested in? Some areas that we are interested in are neonatal sepsis and necrotizing enterocolitis, which is some gastrointestinal problem that some preterm babies develop. We're interested in the microbiomes in preterm infants. We also have big data, so we have data-driven clinical research. And then Professor Lam also did some work on early life heavy metal exposure and clinical outcomes, which is very interesting. And currently, we are also looking at the mucosal immunity in preterm neonates. So if you're interested in any of these regions, then have a chat with us. And so just some aspects of our work. So as you can see, this is one of our preterm babies. This baby is very small and needs a lot of support. And one problem that some preterm babies may develop is that it's called necrotizing enterocolitis, which is actually a life-threatening disease and with high mortality rate. And this is due to inflammation or infection of the bowels. And survivors of NEC, they may have a lot of problems later on in life. And so there's a lot of research done on the pathogenesis, the physiology, the diagnosis and management of this condition. And in the Chinese University of Hong Kong, we've been looking at NEC research for a number of years already. And the thing that we're interested in is biomarkers for early detection of NEC. And our theory is that if we can detect this disease very early on, before it develops further, then it may lead to improved outcome. And how can we identify this disease early on? The way we do it is that we try to look for a specific biomarker in the baby's blood. And if we can find that biomarker, then it may indicate that the baby will develop a severe disease in the future. And then hopefully if we intervene early, then it will improve the outcome. So some research areas we had for early was the biomarkers for NEC. We also look at microbiomes associated with NEC and also tissue analysis as well. And because it's been an ongoing research in the department for a number of years, so we have lots and lots of publications in the past 10 years or so. And then other ongoing studies associated with NEC, because nowadays after we have looked at some biomarkers, we find that on top of biomarkers, there may be other areas associated with the GI tract of the baby, which would affect the baby's outcome in the future. So we are now also looking at the stool microbiomes in newborns, and also as any association between the stool microbiomes and the neurodevelopment outcome of children. So if there's different microbiomes in the gut of the newborn early on, would that affect the baby's outcome maybe when he's 5 years old, 10 years old, etc. So something that we've been doing on in our department since the recent years. And then, as I said just now, nowadays lots of researchers look at big data. And one of our area research is big data as well. So in Hong Kong, there's the territory-wide national data, which is available in the hospital authority labs in Hong Kong. And so if you're interested in looking at epidemiology or territory-wide data, then this is something that we can look into as well. So once you have got a research question, for example, what is epidemiology of a certain disease for newborn babies or certain problem in neonates, then we can think about looking into the big data and see if we can find some answers for that. And so that's part of our research. And also, we're also part of an international network called the ANZNN, which is the Australian and New Zealand Neonatal Network. And that is when different countries in Australia, New Zealand, and also other parts of the world, we all contribute our data into one big data source. And if you want to find the answers to some interesting questions that nobody has looked into before, then you can also use that data, which has a lot of, which covers other countries as well. And so that's something that we are looking at recently as well. And then other research areas that we're interested in, another nice picture there. So we just saw Professor Albert Lee just now. And this is Renee, Professor Chen, and she'll be speaking on other, she'll be giving another talk later on. So we are collaborating with the Professor Chen's lab, looking at something called non-invasive sampling of nasal mucosa epithelial fluid. So our theory is that for preterm babies, then mucosal immune defense system, which means the immunoglobulins, etc., haven't developed yet. And we want to see how they develop as they after they are born and as they go into term. So that's something that hasn't had that much research done before. So we're trying to look into that. And then and we're using one very simple but very effective device. This is called a nasal strip. and we can put it into a newborn baby's nose to absorb some of the nasal epithelial lining for analysis. And that's currently what we are using now for some of our studies. And then if you are not interested in like basic lab research, then there are other research that we are doing here. For example, we do also community and questionnaire studies. For example, we want to look at for newborn babies. It's a very special area because in this area, a lot of the parents are very much involved in the baby's care. And also, if the babies have developed major problems, then the parents undergo a lot of stress. So we had some studies where we looked at the attitudes of parents when the children have to go for major surgery. And also, sadly, for some newborns who did not survive, we also did some work on like how the parents feel or how do we make the end-of-life decisions for babies who did not survive. And so that was just a quick run through of what we did. And if you're interested in collaboration or working with other teams as well, then we also have a lot of collaborations here. And actually collaboration is very important because if we don't collaborate, it's just our team working. But if we collaborate with other teams, there's exchange of ideas, and we also can share out our resources, and hopefully we can do something even bigger. So we have collaborations with other teams in CUHK as well. We have another team led by Professor Tony Nelson, who does a lot of work on vaccination and also neonatal screening. So we did some work on that and also have some publications coming out as well. And then we also collaborate with the microbiology team here to do some research on assays for rapid detection of bacterial infection in the intensive care unit and also respiratory microbiomes. And we also work with the obstetrics and gynecology team because they look after the babies before the baby's born. So they look after the pregnant mothers. And there's a lot of work going on epidemiologically that would be very interesting to work with them. And then outside Chinese University of Hong Kong, we are also working at the Hong Kong Children's Hospital. I think Professor Leung and also Professor Lee talked about the Hong Kong Children's Hospital just now. And for our neonatal team, we also have collaborations with the Hong Kong Children's Hospital. And we are also working on necrotizing enterocolitis with them on one of the collaborative projects. Okay. And then what I talked about just now, the Australia and New Zealand neonatal network. So we are one of the participating centers, and we share our data with them. And then if there's any data or big data that we want to look at, then we can also discuss with them for further collaborations. And then some future collaborations. Outside Hong Kong, we're also having conversations with other countries. For example, with UK for potential multi-center studies. And then also outside Hong Kong, there's a lot of research going on in the Greater Bay Area and also in mainland China as well. And for mainland China, the very good advantage is that the population is very large. And also for the neonatal population, it's also very large. So it would be good if we can talk about maybe further collaborations with such a big database inside in different areas of China. So this is just a quick run through of what we are doing or what we have been doing. And hopefully it will give you a quick idea as to what neonatology is about. So it's not just about babies, but it can involve like basic physiology, basic science of babies, but also involve other areas like the big data area and also the humanistic area. If you're interested in like the parents' attitudes or the parents of the family reactions to different conditions, then also something that we can explore as well. So if you're interested, then please give us a call or email us, and then we can have a chat.